And he wanted to know, what will I do? I will go into a restaurant and eat for the first time in my life where I feel satisfied. I will eat until it comes through my ears. Then I'll buy a pair of shoes. And then I'll buy a pair of slacks. He knew that it would cover that much. But he got back to the store. The man hadn't made a mistake, but he had the joy of walking in that assumption. The next day, the man made that mistake. And he realized it the minute the man made the mistake. So he went to another bank and changed the money into the right amount, that he could take back the right amount to the store, leaving him this money over. And with that extra money, he said, I wrestled all day, or rather all day with myself, and that night I went to bed, I could hardly sleep. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not covet. Yet, the next day, my hunger and my desire to have a new pair of shoes and a new pair of pants overpowered what I heard from my mother. And I ate until it came through not my ears, but until I was stuffed. Then I bought myself a pair of slacks, and I bought myself a pair of shoes. Well, who did it? If law had not come into the world, I would never have known sin. If the law did not say, you shall not covet, I would not know what it is to covet. And yet he who was guiding me consigned me to disobedience. So here is the lady, led like a puppet by this current that she could not control. It controlled her, forming out of her and in her that which could perfectly reflect itself. The story of Christ, until Christ be formed in you. For we are told Christ reflects the glory of God and is the express image of his person. Well, who is forming? The Master. The word translated Master means the supreme authority, the controller, God, the Lord. That's what it means. So when they use the word Master, you look it up and see it means the supreme authority, the Lord, God, the controller. So the controller is in control of every life in the world. That controller is God. And you are consigned to disobedience, that he may have mercy upon you. And he learned that law was spiritual. So he arose from that state as a little impoverished Jewish boy in Odessa in Russia. And after the revolution, he found himself, because the war came to an end, among the soldiers who left Russia and made their way into France. And so when he died at the age of 77 on Good Friday, this past Good Friday, he could leave an estate that runs into millions. He learned the law. He learned that the law is spiritual. And as he told me himself, he never took a man to court for an unpaid bill. He would sit at his desk when all the employees left, and he would write out a letter thanking them for their check. He never mailed it, but he would get himself into that mood and thank them for the check that they had sent. And he said within a matter of days, never in excess of a week, but quite often within 2-3 days, a check came. Check came to him in payment of an unpaid bill that was long overdue. So he said, I never once had to lose a friend, for I cannot remain in business and lose customers. And so I never had to dun a customer. I learned the law. I learned that these assumptions, though denied by my senses, if I really believed them and put all my faith in the assumption, it would become a reality. And so I lived by it. long before I met you, Neville, long before I ever heard of you. I heard of you only through my wife. She heard of you and heard the law, and we sort of struck it off together when we met in Paris. But long before I met her or met you, I proved this law when I was a poor little boy in Russia. And I began to live by it. And so I had never once to command to court to get back monies that I had advanced in the form of merchandise. Never. And so when he died at the ripe age of 77, he had proven Paul's words were right. And he didn't know Paul, for he was born and raised in the Jewish faith. And I doubted that he ever read the New Testament. So when Paul makes the statement in the 7th chapter of Romans that the law is spiritual, when he makes that bold statement that if it were not for the law, I never should have known sin,